Hey, what's up, everyone? If you've ever heard people tossing around terms like inline 4 or V6 and wondered what the heck they're talking about, you've come to the right place. Today, we're breaking down the different engine types you'll find in cars, from the basic inline 4 to the exotic rotary. By the end of this video, you'll have a solid understanding of what these engine types are, how they work, and what makes each one unique. Let's start with the most common engine configuration out there, the inline engine. If you drive a car, there's a good chance it's got an inline engine under the hood, especially if it's a compact or mid-size car. The most popular variant is the inline 4 or I4 engine. In this setup, 4 cylinders are arranged in a straight line. It's a simple, efficient design that's relatively cheap to produce, which is why you'll find it in everything from budget hatchbacks to small SUVs. The I4 is known for being compact and lightweight, making it a great choice for cars where space is at a premium. However, because all the cylinders are lined up in a row, these engines can sometimes be a bit rougher when it comes to vibration. Manufacturers often use balancing shafts to smooth things out, but it's something to keep in mind. Moving up the ladder, you've got the inline 6 or I6 engine. This one's a favorite among car enthusiasts for its smoothness and balance. With 6 cylinders in a row, it naturally balances out the vibrations, so it runs smoother than an I4. You'll often find inline 6 engines in higher-end sports cars and luxury vehicles, like the BMW 3 Series or older Nissan Skylines. They take up more space than an I4, but the payoff is a smoother, more refined driving experience. Next up, we have the V engines. These engines get their name from the V-shaped arrangement of their cylinders. The cylinders are divided into 2 banks, angled away from each other, forming a V. The most common V engines are the V6 and V8, but you might also hear about V4, V10, and V12 engines. Starting with the V6, this is a super versatile engine. It's like the Swiss Army knife of engines. Compact enough to fit in most cars, but powerful enough to give you some serious performance. The V6 is basically a go-to for a lot of mid-sized sedans, SUVs, and even some sports cars. The V-shape helps save space compared to an inline 6, making it easier to fit into smaller engine bays while still delivering smooth power. Then there's the V8, the muscle car legend. If you're into cars with serious grunt, you know all about V8s. With 8 cylinders pumping out power, these engines are all about delivering high torque and horsepower. You'll find V8s in everything from American muscle cars like the Ford Mustang GT and Chevy Camaro to high-performance SUVs. The downside? They're heavier and less fuel efficient. But hey, if you're driving a V8, chances are you're more concerned about how fast you can go from 0 to 60 than how much gas you're burning. Stepping up to the V10, now we're talking about serious power. V10 engines are less common but are typically found in high-performance sports cars and some supercars. Think about the Dodge Viper or the Lamborghini Huracan. The V10 offers a balance between the brute force of a V8 and the smoothness of a V12. It's a bit of a middle ground, giving you the best of both worlds. Tons of power with a unique sound that's somewhere between a growl and a scream. And then we have the V12. This is the epitome of engine luxury and power. V12 engines are usually reserved for top-tier luxury cars and hypercars. Think Rolls-Royce Phantom or Ferrari 812 Superfast. With 12 cylinders firing in perfect harmony, a V12 is incredibly smooth and can produce massive amounts of power. The downside, it's big, heavy, and drinks fuel like there's no tomorrow. But if you're driving a V12, fuel economy is probably the last thing on your mind. And just for fun, let's touch on the V4. It's not super common in cars today, but you'll see it in motorcycles and some older vehicles. The V4 combines the compactness of an inline 4 with some of the smoothness of a V engine. But because it's more expensive to produce and doesn't offer significant advantages over an I4, it never really took off in the automotive world. Now let's talk about the flat engine or boxer engine, another interesting configuration. In this setup, the cylinders are laid flat on their sides in 2 opposing banks, kind of like a boxer throwing punches, which is where it gets its name. This design keeps the engine's center of gravity low, which is a huge plus for handling. The most well-known example of this is the flat 4 or F4 engine. You'll find these in Subarus and Porsches. The low center of gravity helps these cars hug the road, making them great for cornering and stability. The downside is that flat engines are wider than inline or V engines, which can make them trickier to package in a car. But the benefits in terms of handling often outweigh this drawback. Then there's the flat 6 or F6, most famously found in the Porsche 911. This engine is loved for its smooth power delivery and unique sound. Porsche has perfected the flat 6 over decades, making it one of the most iconic engines in automotive history. For those who want to go big, there's the flat 8 or F8, but these are pretty rare. You'll mostly see them in older race cars or some classic Ferraris. The flat 8 is incredibly smooth and balanced, but its size and complexity mean it's not really practical for most production cars. Finally, let's talk about the rotary engine, a true outlier in the world of engines. Instead of using pistons moving up and down, the rotary engine uses a triangular rotor that spins around inside an oval housing. This design is super compact and lightweight, which is why it's famous for being used in the Mazda RX-7 and RX-8. The rotary engine has a cult following because of its unique design, high revving nature, and the crazy amount of power it can produce relative to its size. But it's not without its issues. Rotary engines can be less reliable and less fuel efficient, and they tend to burn more oil. That's why you don't see them in many modern cars. Still, if you ever get a chance to drive a rotary-powered car, it's an experience you won't forget. So there you have it, a rundown of the most common engine types you'll find in cars today. From the simple and efficient inline-4 to the mighty V12 and the quirky rotary, each engine type has its own strengths and weaknesses. Understanding these differences not only helps you appreciate what's under the hood of your car, but it also helps you make more informed decisions, whether you're buying, tuning, or just talking shop with your buddies. If you enjoyed this video and want more car content, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what your favorite engine type is and why. Catch you in the next one.